The Bible Society of Uganda started responding to trauma healing needs by 2012. Although there were earlier efforts in 2010 when scores of people died due to landslides in the eastern district of Bududa, and in July 2010 when there was a terrorist attack in the capital Kampala, killing 74 people. At both occasions, the Bible Society of Uganda had a selection to help the survivors and the nation to cope with the shock and grief. The American Bible Society, ABS, continued to support plans to establish trauma healing strategy in Uganda. The first Uganda-Kenya joint project in 2012 was targeting children. Later, the need for trained adult caregivers was urgent, especially with increasing numbers of refugees, war survivors, and children-dominated poor population. At the beginning of 2013, the Bible Society of Uganda, supported by ABS, started Bible-based trauma healing in areas where trauma was presumed more acute by the church. The northern Uganda area was to be served by Gulu site, while Nakivale, Orukinga and Rwamwanja refugee settlements each received a trauma healing site. The target group was children, women, youth and men refugees, especially of Congolese origin. The surrounding communities were also targeted. Gulu site targeted the post-war trauma victims in northern Uganda. At least 200 churches and community leaders have been convened and agreed to send their leaders for trauma healing training, who in turn were handed back to the church and have since been helping their communities through healing group sessions. The work has so far attracted national media attention and coverage. All the known 5 major Christian denominations are involved. 108 people have been equipped as caregivers, training facilities and master facilitators. 103 of them are doing healing sessions with touching testimonies and reports of people that have been helped. There is now enough local capacity to train more caregivers and facilitators. 1,000 people have been reached so far through healing group sessions. Over 3,500 Bibles have been given out so far to beneficiaries identified as most needy by the church and caregivers. Trauma is difficult to put into local languages. When we meet leaders, we inform them about the trauma healing project strategy. Their understanding of the word trauma is made clearer and put into local context. They all agree that trauma has adversely affected the church and Bible ministry in general. It is time to deal with it. Father Ojok Santos is the pastoral coordinator of the Catholic Archdiocese of Gulu. He stresses the urgent need of trauma healing in Uganda, especially the northern region.
Yeah, I could actually say that at this material time, after almost 20 years of war experience, very many people are affected and they are traumatized. Glad that at least you came in rightly when people can be tried, then they go back to help their fellow brothers and sisters who are at home there, especially in the church. Bible Society is trying to do is an eye-opener for most of us. Our people really need such a service. If we empower the local people by training them, that would be the best.
Yes.
Because if you want to give an everlasting impact on someone, allow him to know what he or she is going.
In Gulu, people pour out their pains as they sing about the immense love of God. Their tears come naturally and flow uncontrollably. This perhaps contradicts their own tradition that men ought not to cry.
Yesu, pura geriba,
Angeyuni ibikonyarwa kisama kekuma.
This is the way healing starts in most instances as healing sessions are in progress. Although healing may take long, once its process has started, there is hope for restoration. People are nailing their pains to the cross as an outward symbol of gradual healing and faith in God. At equipping, the adults are given an opportunity to interact with one another. One of the project beneficiaries undergoing healing process tries to remember what happened. Some traumatized people have scanty knowledge of what happened. When they talk about it, they get to redefine what happened and the healing starts.
For sure, the life of Nakivale is not easy. It's very hard. Some of them, they have lack of food, lack of drinks, lack of clothes. So the life of Nakivale is not easy.
Jocelyn, aged 38, has lived in the Nakivale refugee settlement for over 10 years now and has been going to church. Her memories of the horrors of genocide have stuck to her mind. It is only after going through healing group sessions that she began to realize how terrible it was to lose her 18 relatives. She also realizes the importance of forgiveness. Her story is representative of hundreds or even thousands of many other people, especially women and children.
Abantu bafa nawe bakanyitira abantu banje 18 nyawe cyo nihiremo nkihamo okusasira abantu barinya banyikiye abantu banje.
At 23, Obedi Manirakiza is one of the young men who have been forced out of their countries and are in the refugee settlement. He too recalls the pain he went through during the war in DR Congo and testifies how, through the Bible Society intervention, he has been healed of the wounds of his heart.
Mimi kwa majina naitika Obedi Manirakiza. Rebels came and start shooting. Then we go without have anything. Many children there died. Mimi jambo ambalo nataka kusema nashukuru Mungu sana kwanza kwa Bible Society in Uganda.
He remembers how he used to go to school and now all his dream career is shattered. He, however, has hope in the Lord. Bukuru Prosper, having preached for the last 25 years, decided to change his way of preaching after the initial training. He is one of our caregivers now in Nakivale under the Ebenezer Fellowship. He admits that his gospel of hate, condemnation and judgment has been substituted by God's gospel of love. He too is a representation of many others.
Jina langu Reverend Bukuru Prosper. Lakini sasa wakati Bible Society ilikuya ikatufanyia training ya juma moja.
The Bible Society of Uganda appeals to individuals, organizations and other entities to join efforts in all ways possible and help people heal from their various types of trauma. Unless this is done, Bible engagement shall remain with challenges. Simon Peter Mokama is the General Secretary of the Bible Society of Uganda.
In 2010, in my own home village in Bududa, a number of our people were buried by the soils out of the landslides. We ran from Kampala to go and rescue the situation. On arrival on the scene, what we saw was horrible. The sight that we witnessed, people were holding their hands on their cheeks, a sign that hope was gone. Hope was no more. They were devastated. We looked over the land and we saw a number of UPDF officers. The officers were excavating, trying to dig up the dead bodies. In the process, they were even chopping off some of the bodies. It was a horrible state. You couldn't imagine being there, you couldn't imagine seeing what was happening. Immediately a body was found, quickly it was taken to another place for burial. We left the place with our hearts sad. When we sat down together with a session of facilitators from Kenya, trying to find an answer, trying to bring hope to the people who were now hopeless, they asked, what is the word trauma in the local language? For me, it came so quickly without much thinking. The word was Ingunyi. Ingunyi, in the real essence, means I am wounded. Wounded of the heart. My heart is broken. My heart is crushed. My hope is gone. I can't run to my neighbor. I can't run to the witch doctor. Nobody has the answer. The world around me is dark. My heart is completely crushed. Our question was, where is the answer? Where do we find hope? And the answer indeed was in the Word of God. Psalm 121, verse 1 and 2. I look up to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. Only God, the person who can turn back to. Trauma healing sessions, wonderful opportunity to restore hope in a situation when people are hopeless. When people can't look anywhere else, to come back to the Bible. God's word, life for all.
These children of God, living in some of the Ugandan hard-to-reach areas and surrounded by all sorts of needs and poverty, are also experiencing severe trauma. The Bible Society of Uganda has been empowering the church to respond to their need. Many other challenges, like lack of what to do, majority of them are helpless. They need help.